I had this experience last night that I feel very excited to talk about because it was a really big aha moment for me. I was out at karaoke and I haven't been doing that very much in the last 8 months, since like last October. Um, I realized at that time that I was using alcohol to escape from myself. Like, I wasn't like conscious of that. I just would be out socially and have usually like two beer Guinness. Two Guinness was like my thing, sometimes three, but it was like for me going out and having that bubbly effervescence of Guinness, the Guinness giddiness was like um me kind of running away from myself. And I was unaware of it until not doing it and being with like that part of me that was like, dealing with whatever consciously, like kind of sitting with my emotions and stuff. And I would feel this impulse of like, it's like I'm just sitting there doing whatever. And it's like, you should go put on fancy clothes and go to karaoke and like, da 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 da. It was like this kind of escapism. And so yesterday, I get all of this nudging from my like guides and guardian angels and like my higher self. They're like, go out, Christy. Go have some fun. Like put on an outfit and like go sauce it up. And I was like, this is really weird because it's been literally the like opposite. My guidance has been the opposite of that. So I was resistant and reluctant, but I did it. And I had this kind of like aha moment at the pub because I have kind of been in a place of, it's kind of like judgment, not on others, but like just the how do I explain this? Like, you know what it's like when you go into a facility that serves spirits, how it's like, yeah, you know what I mean? Like, the vibe can be so dingy. And, you have to be so vigilant in those spaces, is what I thought, right? Because, like, people, when they're had intoxicants and they're like, my frustration with it like a year ago was like I wanted to not drink and be out and doing these like karaoke's and stuff, and like other people coming to me kind of intoxicated and being like, like we all know that, you know what I'm talking about, right? And they're like holding you in conversation, and I had no tolerance for it when I was sober. And when I had like a little buzz, I was, I guess, I don't know, I kind of saw myself as it was a learning experience because I would give my attention to a degree, but then I would, in the back of my mind, start to be like, okay, this has gone on long enough. I don't want to talk to this person. Or actually, I don't want to listen to this person anymore. Because that's the thing that was really bothering me about alcohol, is that watching people and being sucked into moments where it was like playing ping pong with a communication, but there was no connection. It was like, k, 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 k. And I hated that because I am very much about connection. If we're speaking, we're meeting each other, right? We should be, in my opinion, or I don't want to be doing it. And so that was one of my issues. And so last night, the difference was that I have spent the last almost year grounding into my own energy, learning what that is, so that like when I was out in public, I used to have like kind of like these masks and this like bag of tricks depending on who I was speaking with, you know, putting on whatever met the requirements of the moment. And I felt really like not knowing who I truly am to some degree. And you know, and I was speaking about connection. It is hard to connect with your masks on. But anywho, last night I'm maskless but decorated and hanging out and having these various interactions with people, but really grounded in my sense of self. And so these moments where I'm like, okay, I'm done with this conversation, I didn't squirm in it. I didn't try to like be in my mind like, how am I gonna wriggle out of this with this person? It was like like this lady was talking to me about going fishing and telling me, you know, she was just intoxicated, so there was a lot of like, I don't know, you know, dude, I don't have to describe intoxicated conversation, right? And so I was like, okay, I'm done with this. And she was like, if you go, I'll, you know, get them for you out of the water, whatever she was saying. And I was like, you know, that's not me. I'm never gonna do that. Like, I am not that girl. Like, I'm never going to bait hooks and gut fish. Like, that's just not me. I like to keep my hands clean or whatever I said. And then just like went back to my doodling. And that was that. But it wasn't like, I wasn't rude. And I said it kind of in a laughing way, like, yeah, that's not me. I'm not that girl. But I sent out this like psychic energy of, I don't want to talk with you anymore. And she just stopped talking and she was like, okay, I'm gonna like go smoke a cigarette. And that was that. And I was sitting there and I was like, whoa. That was cool. And so that kept happening all throughout the night. It was like I made the decision in me, and then it was like a commanding statement, like okay, we're done. And it was so cool. It was so cool being in my own energy. And like you know, just like I was so much more grounded. There was this you know, even like this person who kept trying to get in my field and I didn't want that. And finally I was like, put my hand out. I was like, you're standing too close to me. And like, you need to back up and stay out of my space. And you know why this feels really great? Because we're listening to a person and there may be like, you know this, right? Like how we have been conditioned to be nice and be polite, and that's why that was such a struggle for me. Why I had all of those social masks and tricks, like, oh, I better tell this person I have to go to the bathroom, or, you know, check my phone or whatever, because I didn't know how to like extricate myself without being nice. And so I'm like breaking out of that conditioning and just like being in your own sovereign presence and just being like, no, I'm done. I'm not interested. I don't want this. Like, thank you, no, go away. You know, like, it feels really good. And it's just, I'm like, how do I put this into words? What? My heart's like, you guys, say no if you want to say no. Protect your energy, your body, your energy field. You don't have to be nice. Okay? Like, and you can send people on their way with love and grace and appreciate the fact that they exist and want nothing the fuck to do with them. You can be like, get out of here. Like, energetically, you know, and just be like, no. I am learning this. And it was so exciting because I had the time of my life last night. I had so much fun. And that's the other thing. Like, I was there and kind of witnessing all these people letting their guard down and having fun and being silly. And I thought, like, this is what these spaces are for. And I saw, like, kind of like The Sims, right? Like, we're all here to play and have these experiences with life. And so when we go out socially and imbibe in a libation and just kind of like, right? And just like get a little bit silly, it's kind of like one of the beautiful things about life, you know? And that was like the first time of me coming back to that after my long journey of reclaiming myself and reclaiming that libation as play and not escape. You know, like I wasn't going out to run from something in my life. Therefore, my presence there was really like grounded in this beautiful energy. And I feel like we should all have that safety and security to go out into the world. Like I saw this girl, she was so like she couldn't have driven a car safely, but like, you know, she was like pretty drunk, but she was having the time of her life and she was so funny. And I was watching her like Sims, like, oh my gosh, what a character. She's having so much fun. And I thought, like, yeah, you know, there are times when our consciousness like just needs to like pop off a little bit and like, you know, like that very Neptunian influence of just getting out of normal everyday consciousness and just witnessing that. Like these, we need safe spaces for that. Safe spaces to just kind of like free ourselves a little bit, I think, for those who want to do that. You know what I mean? Like, for a long time, I didn't want anything to do with that. And like I said, I was kind of judging it, not others, but judging it in myself. Like, because I had a lot of shadow stuff going on. But yeah, it was just great. So I had another point. Let me just tune in for a second. Bear with me. If you are a being that wants to go out on occasion and have a good time and get a little tipsy and get a little silly, and you don't want to deal with any of the nonsense that I described previously in this video, I highly encourage you to prepare the space ahead of time with your intentions. Because that's what I did. Before getting out of my car, I parked, I sat there, I put my hands over my heart, and I called in my team. I called in angels. I called in dragons. Like, I call in fairies. You know, I'm like, it's like you're setting up the board, right? So before I got out of my car, I set up the board, I set up the atmosphere, and voila. It was amazing. Sometimes we don't always get what we intend. You know, I didn't do this prayer, and I just asked Spirit to go before me and prepare this space and make it perfect. Make it perfect for me, for my soul, for my soul's wisdom, for what is in highest good for me and everybody else. And it could have been a completely different experience if my higher self was like, okay, well, here you go. That's what you wanted, but this is what you're going to get because this is what's going to serve you. So I'm not saying if you put your intention into setting the board and you experience something different, that can happen sometimes. But the power is in the connection with yourself and how you receive moments, how you respond to it, how you frame it mentally and emotionally, and where you go from there. So yeah, set the space. Set your space in your heart. Set your space in your mind. Set the space physically. And stand in your authenticity. Be in yourself. Be in your body. Know your why. Why am I here? What do I want from this? I wanted to have a good time. I wanted to doodle and I wanted to sing. And that's what I did. I'll show you guys. I drew some really fun stuff. I drew an anglerfish with a crown. I have no idea what an anglerfish looks like, except that they have this light off their head, and I kind of just went with goldfish. And then I drew this dualistic mask that's gonna be on fire. I'm gonna paint it. One side is angelic, and the other side's oh no. I'm a beautiful goddess. I'm a little bit scared and worried and concerned, but I'm gonna give it a try anyway. I think that was how I felt in the moment. Okay, and then, this one would be hard to see. It's gonna be a dragon with its mouth open, and then there's a moon and a portal and a mountain in the distance and a star. A feminine crescent moon. And finally, a masculine crescent moon. And that's all I got. And I am going to paint them. I also have this. This is orange. Hello. And this cool self-portrait that I'm working on. I also worked on that last night. Adding fleurs. Oop, it's blurry. What is control's opposite? Allowing. To trust and surrender. This one I was like, what is your heart's desire? My heart's desire was to let go of control. So yes, I do art journaling. So I'm curious what anglerfish is. I'm gonna look into that. Well, actually being at the bar, I was like being aware that some beings send their light forward, you know, but like it's false. It's and that I think, you know, like when I drew this other picture when I was feeling a little bit concerned, it was like I don't want to deal with any false light bitches, you know. And bitches, I just mean people, not the feminine. So yeah, I think I just solved my own riddle. And the crown was like, I'm gonna be in my sovereignty and just be well the fuck aware of what's going on. Okay, well, bye. Sending you blessings.